Welcome to Jesús Manuel Mena Garza. This is my original channel, my smallest channel, my original channel, but it's also my smallest channel. I have other channels, one specifically RV and travel adventures, which I talk about RVing and my travel adventures, my most popular channel. And then my second most popular channel is Jesús Manuel Mena Garza, photography, video, and audio, in which I talk about, again, photography, video, and audio. And then I have another channel called My Normal Life ? In which I talk about stuff I do at home and in the yard, you know, basically maintenance and lawn mowing tips and stuff like that. Very exciting stuff. But this is a channel in which I do my politicking. I talk about my, I express my opinion. And today I'm going to be going over my little notes here and talking about immigration. Today, February 24th, 2026, our president, Donald J. Trump, is going to go on stage before Congress and give his little spiel and talk. And of course, I'm not a big fan of the president, and I just wanted to express my understanding of immigration, migration patterns, and los Estados Unidos, the United States of America. So first off, I wanted to talk about the original inhabitants of this country, the indigenous people, the various tribes, the various indigenous folks who were living their lives for thousands upon tens of thousands of years in the United States of America. And then, what happened was an invasion, essentially from Europeans, came to the United States and conquered, from Tierra de Fuego in South America all the way to the Bering Straits in Canada. All these Europeans came, conquered, and pretty much to about 95% eradicated the indigenous population. They killed them off, okay? And then after they killed them off, they took their lands. So in the United States, this process was essentially we sent our soldiers into an area, killed off the indigenous population, and then we moved in settlers, and then we did that again. We went to a certain area, we killed the native indigenous population, and maybe sent the remainders into reservations, and then we took their land. We put farms, ranches, etc. This happened all the way from Connecticut, all the way to California, all the way to Minnesota, all the way down to Texas. Okay, so this is the system of eradication, annihilation, the genocide against the indigenous peoples of the Americas. So since then, there have been migration after migration from Europe to the United States to fill these now empty lands where the Indians are no longer there. We got, hey, look at that. We got wide open spaces. Let's just chop down all those trees. Hey, look at wide open spaces. We can grow our wheat there. Hey, look at those wide open spaces. We can have our cattle graze there. After we kill the buffalo, of course, we can have our cattle graze there. Okay? So let me talk about my family's migration pattern. My father is essentially a white Spaniard whose family can trace their roots to, Spain. So he's a white man. He married my mother, who's an indigenous person, essentially Native American, Native Mexican. And she my mother was born in South Texas in 1914. My father was born in Coahuila, Mexico in 1907, but his father was born in San Antonio in the 1800s. So there's been this fluid border, people going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, after the Americans defeated the Mexicans in the Mexican-American War and took over the American Southwest in the mid-1800s. I once had a conversation with Ola Cazador, who's an indigenous person from the Apache Res. I was in Globe, Arizona, and I talked to her. She did some work at the San Carlos Apache Res and Casino near Globe, Arizona. And I had a conversation with her about Mexicans and Americans and how they fought over this land and blah, 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 blah. And she put me in my places at Jesus. I'm going to tell you something. Americans and Mexicans, you're both a bunch of thieves. This is indigenous land. This is an Indian land. So She had no love for either Mexicans, Chicanos, or Americans, be you from, recent immigrants or whatever. She didn't have no love for us, but she understood that this was originally indigenous Native American, Apache, Cherokee, Navajo, Zuni, Pooh, all the different tribes land, okay? She knows that, and she explained it to me. Said, hey, you're a bunch of thieves. So the border's been quite fluid, especially during the 1800s, from border of Mexico, from Mexico and the United States. After the war, people just getting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. After the war was over, between Mexico and America, some people, Mexicans, actually lived in Texas, lived in California, lived in New Mexico, lived in Colorado, lived in Arizona, and they had their homes and ranches there. And they were, previously, they were Mexican citizens, now they're American citizens. So there's a term in the Chicano community, we didn't cross the border crossed us, okay? Understand that concept. I'm looking down at my notes. One of the main reasons a lot of Mexicans, especially from certain communities in Mexico that are a little bit more impoverished, come to the United States to find jobs. They historically in the 1900s and to current migration patterns, these people came to the United States to fill certain positions. Typically, positions a lot of Americans don't want to fill. Okay, they do not. A lot of Americans don't want to go on that roof in Fort Worth, Texas, in the middle of summer, where it's 110, 125 degrees on the roof, and put on shingles. They don't want to do that. Typically, if you see a road crew here, they're again Mexicans. Second generation, first generation, recently arrived Mexicans. Who knows? And they're working in the, spreading asphalt, and it's super, super hot. You look in the back of a Chinese restaurant, a Japanese restaurant, an Italian restaurant, you see who's washing the dishes? It's not Americans, it's Mexicans. They're washing the dishes, doing the job, cleaning things, cleaning the tables, etc., etc. They found a niche in the United States, doing labor. Cheap labor. You go to a hotel, you see the crew cleaning the rooms and, washing the towels and the linens. Hopefully they're washing the towels and the linens. And they're typically, again, Mexican. So you have all these Mexicans filling in these low-skill, labor-intensive jobs. So one of my friends who lives in a mansion in San Rafael, she told me once, about Mexicans. She goes, at least Mexicans show up. So Mexicans are good for work, labor, doing things, especially those that come from Mexico. They come from Mexico because Mexico has a specific system. There are a lot of wealthy people in Mexico. There are a lot of middle-class people in Mexico. But if you're a working class stiff in Mexico, you typically don't have a junior high school education. You barely have an elementary school education, and you don't have a lot of skills. You're not going to become an engineer. You're not going to become a lawyer. You're not going to become a big farm owner. You're not going to own that tequila farm that some American actually owns, that tequila where they grow the agave and distill it. Those are people with money. These people have a little bit of a farm where they grow squash and they grow beans, and they till that farm and they survive on a subsistence level, which doesn't require an engineering degree. Shocking if not. So these individuals, if they run into hard times and some of the members don't have, because of poor education, they leave and go to the United States, and they've been doing this for the last 100+ years. They've been going to los Estados Unidos, okay, to find jobs. And they find jobs. Again, they find all kinds of jobs. And again, this is intentional by the Mexican government historically. They have created a system by which those that don't have jobs and opportunities, there's this pressure relief valve. Psst, psst, go to the United States of America and get a job there. Nothing's happening for you. You're here. You're the bottom rung of society. You go over there. A lawyer in Mexico is not going to come to the United States. A doctor from Mexico is not coming to the United States. An engineer in Monterrey, Mexico, making a hell of a lot of money is not going to the United States of America. A person who owns a bunch of houses and apartment complexes, a big-time retailer in Mexico, is not going to come to the United States. It's the bottom rung, uneducated folks that are coming to the United States. And that's been historic. And that's been the system in Mexico. Mexico allows this to happen. And previously, America allowed this to happen. There was a fluid border. You know, the chicken plant in Arkansas wanted cheap Mexican labor. So do we want an open border? A lot of people, you know, are super liberal. They're super naive. They say, hey, anybody wants to come here, it's perfectly fine. Kumbaya. You know, they're poor. They're suffering. They should come to the United States. We'll let you in, let you in. Of course, everybody's, you know, south of the border would love to come to the United States. They would love to. A lot of them would love, especially lower socioeconomic people from Mexico, you know, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, you know, Colombia, Venezuela. We had a lot of Venezuelans coming now. They would love to come to the United States. Hey, if you open your arms and say, come on out, they're going to come. That's the logical reality. And, you know, everybody wants to come to the United States because there's jobs. And there's an educational system that where you can go to junior high, high school, college, you know, go to Harvard, go to Yale, go to San Jose State University, go anywhere, go to community college and gain skills that are valuable in the high-tech industry, in various industries. You can get a job. You can get a job. You can become a lawyer, doctor, whatever. You can get a job. Or just a, you know, clerk at the old DMV. You get a job. In Mexico, these jobs are not available to those people because they don't have the education and the opportunity. So, and of course, all of Latin America, a lot of Latin America, people come here. Are the doctors and the lawyers going to come here? No. Are the people that own the grocery stores chained in you know, Venezuela going to come? No. Lower socioeconomic individuals. That's the reality. That's the reality. My mother, again, like I emphasized earlier, was born in South Texas in 1914. Her mother was born in the 1880s, my grandmother, in Allende, Coahuila, Mexico. My father, again, was born in Sabinas, Abujita, Coahuila, but his father was born in where? He was born in where? He was born in San Antonio, Texas in the 1880s. So, the history of migration to the United States is not a new one, but apparently Donald Trump says we got to turn off that spigot from Mexico and Latin America, just turn it off. And he's been rather successful because he's a very hard-line person. But what would be acceptable immigration to the United States? That's something for Congress, the American people, to decide. Do we want migrants to come to the United States? Are we going to say only, you know, if you're an engineer from Bangalore or from Singapore, if you want to come down, hey, come on down. Or if you're from Korea, come on down. If you're from Chile and you're, you own a company and you want to open up a branch in those Estados Unidos, come on down. Working class folks, hey, you know, working class stiffs, uneducated folks, maybe, you know. So we have certain options. So we have to make those choices. Who's going to be allowed to come to the United States of America from all these other countries? You know, that's a big decision. You know, are we going to allow people because of economics, their lousy economics to come to the United States because of their economic situation, because they're poor? If you're a poor person, you can come to the United States. No, I don't think so. Is it because of your political, strife in your country? Everybody's, again, there's rampant government corruption and stuff like that. Just like in the United States, rampant corruption, and you're coming to the United States. Should we allow that? I don't know about that. So, are you coming from a country where you have actual skills. You're an engineer, top light. You're the number 2, 3, 4, 5 engineer from that region of the world, and you want to come to the United States and work for a high-tech company? Yeah. The president of the company will say, hey, come on down. We need you. We need you to help us do our work, improve our products. You're a smart guy. Come on down. You're a hard worker. Come on down. Oh, yeah, you can bring your wife, your family, your cousins, your aunts and uncles. Everybody who knows you can come down with you because we want you. So migration is not a simple issue. Immigration is not a simple issue. It's a very complex issue. At what point, who do we allow to cross that border? A lot of people say everybody can come. And other people say nobody can come. Other people say only specific people could come. And that's the conundrum that we're under at this time. Tonight, our President Donald J. Trump, is going to give a spiel. He's going to give a speech. And he's going to talk about migration. And we know that because that's his favorite subject. And, he's going to talk about issues with migration. And, my feelings about migration, are very different from his thoughts on migration. At what point, again, do we allow people in and call it good? So that's the question for all of you. Leave your kind and friendly comments below. Help me out. Leave your kind and friendly comments below. Tell me at what point and what type of persons should we allow in the United States of America? Obviously, we do not want criminals, rapists, murderers, and stuff like that. Basically, bad people. We don't want bad people in the United States. Hey, you're a criminal, you're a rapist, you're a murderer. Come on down. No, we don't want that. We want people that are industrious, hardworking, and determination. This is the big part. Do you want them educated or uneducated? Do you want them to fill in the labor force or the engineering and medical fields? Laborers, high-skilled individuals. You have to decide that. At what point? At what point? Of course, are they blonde and blue-eyed from one of the Nordic countries? Hell yeah. Are you black from Nigeria, Lesotho, those countries? Why not? It's all a matter of who you think is appropriate for this country. Are you a racist? Are you a racist? Am I a racist? Is everybody racist? Are you going to say only specific people can come to the United States from certain regions of the world? Are they Muslim? Oh my God. Are they Muslim? Are they Catholic? There's a lot of stuff going on in this discussion about immigration and migration. So hope you enjoyed this little spiel of mine talking about migration in the United States of America. Again, if you asked Ola Cazador, or the indigenous community, who's a representative and activist in that community, she would say, hey, you can all go back, all you Europeans, Mexicans, black people, everybody, Asians, you can all go back. This is Indian land. I wish it was back where it was, where we can just hang out, have a good time. Thanks for watching my video. This has been Jesús Manuel Mena Garza. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Leave your kind and friendly comments below. And I'll have links in the description to other videos and stuff. This is my opinion, and my opinion alone. Gracias. Adios. Ring the bell for future notifications. Bye-bye.